Hello, I'm Mario DeSanto, and today we are going to discuss the power that Foley sound effects can have on your songwriting and how to implement them in your home recording studio. Woo! Woo! Woohoo!
Quite a good scene, isn't it? One man crazy, three very sane spectators. Look out! The lever! Don't be the lever! They blow us all dressed.
While Foley Effects may have started in the motion picture industry, they have found many uses in music as well. There are going to be two main purposes that we're going to talk about today. The first being using it as an aesthetic choice meant to grab the listener's attention. And the second being a way to supplement a narrative throughout the song. Now, the former purpose I touched upon in a previous video I had done, so I'm not going to go into extreme detail there. I recommend you watching that video after this video because there's some background onto the history of Foley Effects and different ways to use them in the studio. So I definitely recommend that as supplemental watch material. Really, the bulk of this video is instead going to focus on the... Oh my god, that was close. Anyway, the main bulk of this video is going to focus on the latter purpose, where you're using Foley Effects to supplement the narrative of your song. And due to the limited nature of the musical medium, it is not always a convenient way to help portray a story. There is no visual element usually to aid the listener in the narrative that you're trying to convey. Carefully selected sound effects can really help you aid the narrative that you're trying to convey to your audience. And there are a few artists and recording engineers that I think really perfected this art. Some quick examples are albums like Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, or Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles, of course, or Frank Zappa, and he has a bunch of albums where I think he really uses the art of Foley to his benefit. And another band to think of is Mr. Bungle. That band really likes to incorporate sound effects and Foley effects into their music, so I recommend all those listens if you're not familiar with them. When you are using Foley effects in your songwriting, you could either record these sounds yourself in your studio, or you can use a pre-recorded sample. When you are recording Foley Effects, you can either use the object that you are trying to replicate, or you can use another object and simulate the sound for the listener's ears. There are many sources for pre-recorded sound effects and other Foley effects that you can use. Now, I am not a lawyer, so we are not going to go into the sticky, icky legal matters when it comes to using samples from popular media. For me, when I use Foley Effects, I use my collection of Foley records, which has a vast array of different sound effects for me to use, and best of all, it is completely legal for me to use the sounds off these records for my own commercial use. Today we are going to go over a few examples of Foley Effects being used in the songwriting process, and all of the examples that I will be showing will be of my music. This is because I don't want any copyright holders monetizing this video, but more importantly, it's because I want to promote my own music, so f***ing deal with it. For the first example, we are going to go over the production process of my song Serial Skinner to an extreme detail. After that, we are going to go through the examples at rapid fire speed. The reason I want to go into extreme detail about the songwriting process for my song Serial Skinner is because I think it is important to see how Foley effects can be incorporated into each stage of the process of songwriting and how it all intertwines together. And I think this will all be fruitful because I've had a few people ask me specifically about my songwriting process as well as the recording techniques that I like to use. So this will be a good opportunity to go all over that stuff as well. Okay, let's actually move over to my piano now to start talking about the songwriting process for Serial Skinner. Hello, it is me, Slim Jim Joe, Your favorite recurring character in this show. Smile. One of the major benefits of recording in your home recording studio is that you have full control of the production process. That means the songwriting, that means the arrangement, the actual tracking process, and the mixing products. And I want to go into specifics here because I want to show how Foley Effects can help narrate the narrative of a song. The song that we'll be working on is meant to be a continuation of my previous song, My Neighbor's Cat. In that song, the main character mutilates and kills his neighbor's cat. It unleashes a thirst for murder and homicidal rages. And the song ends with the neighbor of said cat coming over and knocking on the door, asking for the whereabouts of the cat. And that is how the song ends. So this song was meant to be a continuation from that point onwards. And please bear with me as I go through the details of the songwriting process for the song. I think it'll be worthwhile, and there'll be some lessons to be learned from this. The songwriting process for this song is actually the longest I've ever spent working on a song, and it all started with a simple 2-chord riff that I first started playing when I inherited this grand piano. And it's a really simple chord progression. It just goes from D major, and we're going to go down to the 6th, and also in a major key. And really, it's the whole song is those 2 chords in varying different playing styles, but each time it's just alternating between these 2 chords. And when I first inherited this piano, I was very green at playing piano. I mean, I still am, but then I was even more of a novice at playing piano. So, every time I sat on the piano, I'd spend a few minutes playing those 2 chords and start adding little flares here and there. And, this went on for probably about a year. I was just playing this riff. And, as I said, I started doing different playing styles. Something slow like that, and then I would do something fast like this. Right, so I had those type of ideas in my bank, so to speak. And I think something important that we could actually learn from this, the 2-chord progression, is that you can make a whole song with a very simple chord progression, and if you keep it spicy, you could keep the listener's attention throughout the song. For the first part of the song, I wanted to lyrically set the tone for the rest of the song. And, I really wanted to get up close and personal to the main character, and I wanted to be him, kind of dreaming about murdering this poor victim. And I wanted to juxtapose that really gruesome details with something that was upbeat and happy. And so I put a little swing in my fingies over here. And, I tried to sing it the way I imagine, like Fred Astaire would sing it, something like Putting on the Ritz. So the intro, it goes like this. So that'd be the first part. Hopefully that performance was right. I'm a little rusty. But that was to be the introduction of the song, gets you right into the nit and gritty, really gruesome lyrics, juxtaposed with the upbeat piano type of thing. And this would lead the song into the continuation from the previous song, My Neighbor's Cat. Now the narrative would start right after the neighbor knocks on the main character's front door. The story would then continue with me with the main character opening up the door, greeting the neighbor, subsequently hitting her in the head with this axe. Hitting her in the head with the axe. Her, getting hit unconscious, falls to the floor, and the main character is going to drag the limpless body into his house, all while he maniacally laughs. This segue would be the first section of Foley that I will be recording for the song. And as the body is being dragged into the house, I want to come in quietly, like with almost like a fade in, with a slower piano part, really shifting the tempo here. And I'm trying to mimic her waking up, in a stupor, and I'm slowly coming to her senses. And as she's coming to her senses, the beat starts to get found. 3, 4, 1, 2. Better run, little girl. Better run a little faster, pretty girl, pretty girl. Once I catch you, the fun begins. I'm gonna stretch your body and wrap your skin. Better run, woo, little girl, la 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 la. Run, woo, little girl. Oh, I screwed it up. Sorry, I'm like playing through a tripod here. But basically, I want that the instrumental to slowly come in. I want it to build up as if she's waking up from this unconscious sleep. And of course, the chorus comes in after that, and I'm singing "Better Run, Better Run." I want to kind of give the illusion of her being chased around the house, or wherever she's chained up. And to aid that waking up portion, I want to add a little bit of Foley to kind of, help to push the narrative along, that she's waking up, confused. She kind of hears someone tuning a TV or a radio upstairs, but it's kind of hard to hear. And, so you get the idea. And once, the beat does kick in, and the rest of the instrumentation follows, I don't want any Foley effects in this section because, I plan on coming back to the chorus again at the end of the song, and I want that chorus to be the climax, the big point of the song. So I'm going to save the Foley effects for this section, really just let the instrumentation and my vocals carry that part of the song. And since the chorus is supposed to be trying to portray the victim being chased around the house, I want it to end abruptly, as if, I had just caught her at the last second. So, it's going to go something like this. 1, 2, 3. Better run, little girl, la 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 la, better run, ooh, little girl. Then it's going to go into like a stripped down section. And, the electric guitar is really going to take the forefront of this instrumentation. I'm going to just keep it really stripped back. Now I'm going to further kind of tease the victim, so to speak, with my lyrics here. I'll wipe the tears from your eyes as you beg for your dear life. You got something I want to take. You wear it on your body every day. I'm taking your skin and nothing within. I'll stop feeling right away. And this much is true, I can promise to you, you'll never see the light of day. So yeah, once again, just kind of further stoking the victim, letting her know, hey, I am about to skin you. I'm about to make a suit out of your skin. It's about to be gruesome, right? And now the second chorus comes in, and as I said, this is going to be the climax of the song. I'm going to have, fast-paced instrumentation. I'm going to have an organ solo. I'm going to add a bunch of Foley effects. I am going to, really go all out here. I really want the listener to reach their climax. Sorry, that was inappropriate, but you get the idea. So once again, I'm just going to repeat the chorus. Better run, little girl. Better run a little faster, pretty girl, pretty girl. Once I catch you, the fun begins. I'm gonna stretch your body and prep your skin. Better run, ooh, little girl, la 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 la. Run, ooh, little girl, la 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 la. Organ solo, Foley effects, other stuff. I'm gonna stretch out the chorus there, and I'm gonna play, I don't know, maybe 16 bars. No, more than 60 bars. I play for at least a minute there on that same chord style. And once I'm done with that instrumentation portion, I just want the outro of the song to be the main character using his sewing machine, presumably with some fresh skin from the victim, and I want him to be whistling a tune as if he's in a good mood, and it didn't affect him emotionally at all. I'm trying to portray someone who's an extreme psychopath. So that was my game plan for the song before I ever committed anything to tape. It was just all what I heard in my head, and I would play through that whole chord progression in a row many times until I was ready for a final take. The final piano take was actually going to be the foundational track that I'm going to use for the song. Usually, that would fall to the role of my drum track. Usually, standard rock tune is going to be set by the drum track, so I almost always do drums first. But in this case, the piano is the driving force of the song, and, for that reason, I'm going to do all my timing with the piano. And I was comfortable enough with this playing this song that I knew I could keep the timing rock steady without having to worry other instrumentation having a hard time following the piano track. And do keep in mind that I am not using a click track by any means or any sort of that witchcraft. I really prefer not to use a click track at all for any of my recordings, especially for a song like this where I want the tempo of the song to change drastically from part to part, because I'm using the tempo change as a tool to further the narrative once again. A great example being that second part where it comes in slowly, mimicking her waking up. That type of thing is not going to be possible if you're using a steady click track. And another benefit of not using a grid or a click track or anything of the nature is that it allows me to time things regardless of musical timing, right? So that transition from part one of the song to the slower second part, I want that to be a natural transition, and it's going to be separated by a section of just Foley effects. I have no idea going in how long of a section that is going to be. So when I go to record the initial piano track, I'm going to have to record that first section, right? Record that part. I'm going to have to then record that Foley section, right? And figure out whatever length of time it needs to be. And then on playback, I'm going to record the rest of the piano track. So I'm going to come in slowly and then finish out the rest of the song in one more take. And by doing that, I'm basically making sure the transition there is natural to my ears. Obviously I'm not able to copy and paste sections of piano playing easily like you would on a DAW. So this is the type of thinking that I have to think about when I'm going into to tracking the song. All right, I think that's enough mumbo-jumbo about the songwriting. Let's get into recording that first Foley section. For some reason, I wanted to do all of these sound effects for this section all on one track with one microphone and in real time. Why? I don't really know. This caused me a lot of frustration. I was in the very early stages of the tracking process, so I had plenty of empty tracks open on my tape machine. But I don't know, I guess I was feeling ballsy that day, and I was destined to record it all in one track. So I set an omnidirectional microphone in the middle of my living room and prepared everything from there. For the door opening sound, I wanted something that sounded cartoonishly old and kind of sounds like an old farm door or something like that. So I went to my Foley record collection and found a audio sample that suited this purpose well. And all I'm going to do to record this sample is I'm going to play it on my record player, and I'm going to play the sound through the stereo system right out of my speakers into that omnidirectional microphone. And since I'm going to be playing this soundbite over my speakers in an open room with an omnidirectional microphone that's picking up sound from all angles, I'm going to get a very ambient sound, perfect for what I wanted. And I actually got really lucky with this sound sample because it was the last sample on that side of the disc. And because of that, I didn't have to worry about another soundbite playing immediately after that one. And, usually they're spaced maybe 5 seconds apart from one another. So, since I wanted to do this all in one long take, that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. While that sound sample is playing in the room, I am going to say, "Can I help you?" And then for the sound of the girl getting bludgeoned in the head with a hammer, I am simply going to smack my fist onto a raw steak. And I think that sound works pretty well. From there, I'm simply going to throw my body onto the floor to simulate the sound of the body falling to the floor after she is hit unconscious. I'm going to wait a couple seconds, and then I'm going to drag my forearms across the carpet to simulate the sound of a body being dragged into the house. All while doing this, I'm going to be maniacally laughing to sound like a homicidal maniac. So, you will see me do that as well. And notice that while I am doing all my test runs here, figuring out what sounds work best, I am always monitoring through my headphones on that exact microphone because I want to hear exactly what that microphone is picking up. I'm doing trials and errors of, different volumes of things I'm doing, different speeds. I'm taking everything into account to make sure the end result sounds exactly how I want it to sound. And I am sending that omnidirectional microphone through a compressor just to catch any peaks that may arise when I'm doing the Foley effects. And, really just to catch the peaks. I'm not trying to shape the sound much at all. But I want to make sure that everything being recorded is relatively the same volume. So I am doing mixing in the room by, altering the volume of the effects that I'm making. And once again, I am not exactly sure why I chose to do this all in one take. It led to a lot of frustration because the way I'm recording this in real time as an overdub on this tape machine in conjunction with the record player it's incredibly frustrating. It took me 19 tries in total to get it correctly, and the hardest part about it really is playing the soundbite through the record player. There's no way to reliably time you dropping the needle and when that sound bite will play. So there's a bunch of trial and error until you get the timing exactly how you want it. Obviously, if you're working on a computer, you can copy and paste this thing, in half a second. There are easier ways to do what I'm doing as well. I could record whatever soundbite from my record player and record it onto another tape machine, and that'll be a much more efficient way to time sound effects like this. But once again, I simply just wanted to challenge myself, and that is why I record the Foley records in the manner that I do. Can I help you? Alright, after I totally nailed that part, I recorded the rest of the piano part to be used as the foundation of the tracking process, and from there I added the rest of the instrumentation, starting with the drums and ending with the vocals. I left the last empty tracks for the rest of the Foley effects to be recorded. The next section of Foley effects that needed to be recorded was to be the part where the piano comes in slowly and it's trying to mimic someone waking up from a stupor and being confused and not really knowing where they are. So for that, I wanted to add the sound of a radio being tuned through stations, and I also wanted to add some crickets. And recording this radio Foley took me 3 takes. At first I was using my old tube radio, but it just kept getting lost in the mix, so I switched to a transistor radio that had a little more treble and a little more bite in the mix, and it was easier to hear.
But you're not sure who to trust to replace it? With over 2...
And for the crickets, I used a sound sample from my Foley record collection. The next was to record the climax of the song, and I was really going to go wild here, all out. I'm going to have an organ solo. I'm going to have a bunch of Foley effects. I use a bunch of my Foley records. We have, I still wanted to keep the same narrative idea of this girl being chased around. So, we have sounds of plates crashing that I use for my Foley records. There's sounds of a cat screeching, just to kind of have a callback to the song My Neighbor's Cat, the previous song. I also have just random horror effects that were on one of these records, so it's a little spooky sounding. I recorded some jingle bells. I kind of liked the idea of the visual idea of this girl having bells attached to her body, and every time she tried to run away, she couldn't do it quietly because the bells would be, ringing. So I just thought that was idea. So that's why there's bells ringing in there. I also recorded myself playing pots and pans with my drumsticks, and I was hoping this would give it kind of a cartoony type of feel. I didn't want it to be taken too seriously. I wanted it to be over the top, so for that, I was just hoping that would be kind of cartoony. Recording that climax part was such a fun experience in the recording studio. I've been hearing this specific part in my head for over a year about, and finally hearing it in fruition was such an exciting feeling. And there's nothing like playing back your tape machine for the first time and hearing what you recorded, and it was just a fun experience. So once that was done, though, I had to record the last outro section, which was just me recording the sound of a sewing machine running and me whistling, once again on one microphone and one track. And once that was done, the tracking process was completely finished, and I moved on to the mixing process. And this song, since it was a pretty high production, there was a lot of sound effects going on, a lot of different piano parts. It took me a long time to mix this song, longer than usual, and I recorded the final Mixdown procedure, and we're going to listen back to the final edit now in real time while I'm mixing down the song on my mixing board. So hopefully you guys like it. Let's take a listen to the whole song in its entirety. Can I help you?
Better run, little girl. Better run a little faster, pretty girl, pretty girl. Once I get you, the fun begins. I'm gonna stretch your body and cut your skin. Better run, ooh, so girl, la 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 la. Ooh, so girl, la 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 la. Ooh, girl, la 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 la.
Alrighty, I hope you all enjoyed the end product of that song. Please let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Foley effects aided the narrative of that song? If you had listened to that song prior to watching this video, were you thinking about all those things? Is it just in my head that I visualize all these things happening during a song? Please let me know, because I would love to hear your opinions. And before we leave for this video, I'm going to quick fire through some other examples of me using Foley effects during the songwriting process. The first example is a song that I finished recently with my friend Alex called Moonshine Runner, and for the intro of the song, I was trying to portray a moonshiner type environment, so I have a bunch of things going on in the intro. Let's take a listen to that now.
Now I'm gonna tell you a story about 1933. How I got...
The next example is going to be dissociative reaction, and in this song I use a bunch of different sound effects. I got slide whistles, this little wooden flute over here, but most importantly I want you to pay attention to the typewriter sound effect, and for that I simply just recorded me typing on my typewriter. The next example is Doped Up Dogs, and in this song I use a variety of dog samples from my Foley records throughout the song and in different manners. So let's hear examples of that now. The next example is going to be from my song Medication Time, and the intro of this song I was trying to portray a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and so I used my seed pod instrument to sound like pills being dropped into a cup. Let's take a listen to that now. Oh, actually I also used a radio sample for that intro as well. The next song, which I think is my best example of my capabilities as a recording engineer and producer, is The Great Siege of Little Yellow Bird. I am not going to go into extreme detail because I have a whole 45-minute video about editing this song, but I use Foley effects from my record collection throughout this whole song, and I really recommend you listen to this song in its entirety because I really do think it's my best piece of work. Of course, we got the Squash Me Like a Bug song that I have the other video on. I recommend you watch that. The intro, we went over Frankenstein, so that was that. I think that is all the examples I could think of at the moment. Alright guys, it is definitely time to end this video. This was only supposed to be 20 minutes long, and we are way past that. I hope you all were able to grab even a little something from this video, and you get some sort of idea of how I implement Foley effects in my home recording studio, and hopefully you will be able to apply some of the things you learned today to your own recording studio. And instead of monetizing this video, I instead implore you to please listen to some of my music. Maybe if you like it, you buy a tape or a CD or something of the other. But even at minimum, you could just post a comment telling me I'm annoying as shit, and I will also accept that. I hope you all have a great Halloween, and I will see you next time. Boo!
See? Oh,